from all ages and all walks of life. We meet and we greet. I mean, at the chess organization, there was a lot of youths, and these are the persons we want to target now. We want to get our youths involved in all the positive things that are going around us.
Exactly. Also, there was a meeting in Meyaru where it is the political leader, the national executive of the COP. They were there to hear again more concerns, because I guess this is an area that feels a bit neglected by the COP. It's a bit distant from where it is we have meetings, etc. They tend to feel a little disconnected, and as a result of that, they had issues that needed to be shared.
Yes. Personally, I was not at the walk in Meyaru, but the tapes and the clips and information that we received, a lot of the members who came out there and activists and just members of the community, the normal community, they were sort of relieved to see that we were there listening.
That there was actually someone there to listen and
to them.
You take note,
yes.
and try to again assist in any which way they can, because it's not good in any forum to feel neglected.
Yes.
So it's good to know that the COP is there, we're out there, we want to interact with you, we want to see you, we want to speak with you and ensure that everything is on the right track.
And again, our political leader has always said it's not just about a political party, it's that he wants to include everyone.
Everyone, all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, he wants to make everyone a family.
And one thing that we always see with the COP is that we are perhaps one of the first political parties to actually go out there and interact with the public outside of an election period. We tend to view the general public not only as tools, as he says, for votes.
Correct.
We want to know what's going on with our general public, regardless of whether or not we're in an election period or not.
Yes.
All right. So we'll just take a short clip, and at that meeting that there was in Meyaru, we'll go to that clip right now. Thank you.
The Meyaru constituency of the Congress of the People has had a very checkered history. There have been problems in this constituency, and there have been many, many instances where members of the COP have felt left out from the decision-making process. The political leader and other members of the Congress of the People, including the chairman, Mr. Joseph Tony, and deputy political leader, Dr. Anirudh Mahabir, paid an official visit as part of the COP plan to meet the constituencies, and went down to Meyaru Rio Claro at the Rio Claro Astra School and conducted a meeting on Monday, the 30th of January, 2012. The discussions were lively, the problems were many, and the voice of the people was heard at that meeting at the Rio Claro Astra School. But the political leader of the COP was able to encapsulate the feelings of the people and put forward the plans of the COP and what he hopes to achieve in that constituency of Meyaru Rio Claro.
We are learning as we proceed, and rest assured that we do not believe in repeating the mistakes of the past. You could not expect success where the hard work, the sweat, tears, and sacrifice of your membership was frustrated, was somehow discarded. And to tell you the truth, I'm a little bit embarrassed to have come here tonight knowing that history. But we believe that we will confront the errors of the past, as I say, never to repeat them, to ensure that every one of our supporters feel that they really belong and a party cares for them, not to be used only as electoral tools in an election period, but to really create a sense of family, a sense of belonging. I've made the point many times over that Congress of the People is not just a political party. That is why when there is no election around, there is none due until 2015 general elections, we continue the work. In fact, after the 2007 elections, I am proud, and I say it all the time, this is the only party in the history of Trinidad and Tobago that went out to the people in all of 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, and now in 2012. Because we understand the need for the population to see an organization that is not there only for electoral victory. The COP not being just an electoral or a political party is about creating a sense of patriotism. where all of our members of the society, whether they're PNM, UNC, COP, whether they belong to no party at all, believe that we belong to the state, the nation state of Trinidad and Tobago. It is not easy for us to come here tonight. I mean, I tell you straight, I live up north. So does our chairman, he lives in Santa Cruz. Our deputy lives in San Fernando. But I don't believe that life was intended to be easy. Nothing in the world is worth having unless you earn it. And that is why we continue to do meetings like these throughout the nooks and the crannies of Trinidad and Tobago. At night, at day, on Saturdays, on Sundays, you name it, we are all over working to believe that we are on the right track to gain the trust of the population. That's what this party is about, regaining trust in politics. Not just for the sake of winning an election and then forget about the people. I'm a minister, I don't need to come back. I'm the leader of the Congress of the People, and therefore I have a moral duty to the supporters of this party to do the hard work necessary for this party to grow, for you who have given your work and your trust since 2006 onwards, that this is a party that you could be proud of. I am extraordinarily proud of this party. Forget some of the errors, but let us look at the great things that this party has stood for. This party is about integrity in government. It is about honesty, decency, about looking after the needs of the population from the lowest to the highest, to ensure that the resources of the country are not put into the hands or the pockets of politicians or their friends, but to really be used everywhere. And you go through the countryside and you see the condition of roads, you see the condition of drainage, you see the poverty, the housing needs. A country that has seen hundreds of billions of dollars that God gave to us because everything that has been earned here came from the land. Whether you're talking about agriculture, which has been demolished by the PNM to a large part, whether you're talking about oil and gas, which is a blessing that has been abused because the wealth of that should have been transformed into the living standards of our people to be lifted everywhere. We came in on the People's Partnership Government on that basis that we would look after the needs of our people. And we've had some major challenges. In fact, we made some major errors. I'll give you an example. When people see highways being repaved over and over, and the secondary roads are falling apart, landslips everywhere. In fact, you wonder if there are roads when you pass, because you could see the evidence of some pitch and things in some places. But that is a pain to us. And the Prime Minister, I've spoken to her about this, we need now to look after the country, not just the city, which is what the PNM had done. We have to ensure that if we don't do it, nobody else will. And the Congress of the People is, as you know, a ground-up party, meaning that we take the information and the representation of the people on the ground, and we take it to the authorities to ensure that they do their duty to our people. This is what we continue to do. I've heard your problems. I know what they are because every part of the country we go, they're similar. In terms, not just of the infrastructure I've spoken about, but in terms of the relationship between the People's Partnership component parts of the UNC, COP, of course, and MSJ, NJA, and the TOP. But let me deal with the reality of the UNC-COP relations. We are in a period of transformation of the politics, where if you belong to a political party and that party has power, it means that everybody else must suffer. That is the reality of the politics we have inherited. If your party in government, it's your time now. And who party out of government? Well, you got to catch until your party get back in power. We have to change that. And on the ground, as you made the point, you have an MP who is a People's Partnership UNC member. And you have local government that you say is controlled by UNC. But the COP's view is it doesn't matter. Once there's a government in place, all of the people have to be looked after and nobody should be afraid. or ashamed to say I belong to a party for fear of victimization. If you have these problems, put it in writing. You now have, and I congratulate your work. Take it to your chairman. Write it. Give me names. Give me examples. He will send it up to the National Executive to me. And I will take it to the leader of the People's Partnership, whose responsibility it is to ensure that there is fairness within the partnership among the partners and to ensure that every citizen is well looked after.
Everywhere you go, Juve was the Lego.
We having a Juve at this year?
Well, I think I remarked one too.
The CUP, we're not going downtown this year?
No boy.
Question.
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome back to Moving Forward. This evening we have with us our Deputy Political Leader, Dr. Lincoln Douglas. He's back with us again to talk about a series of discussions that we've been having lately called Run the Race. Welcome, Dr. Douglas.
It's good to be here. It's good to have you too.
Same here.
Good to be here.
Well, Dr. Douglas, tell us a little bit about Run the Race. Why is it that we decided to have this series of discussions?
Well, Run the Race is really the name of the whole program, but it really is looking at race and politics after 50 years of independence. We have been a nation that has been independent, as you would say, for the last 50 years, and we find that in the media, on the ground, throughout Trinidad and Tobago, there are many discussions or talk about race, about who we get in and who ain't get, and about them people and discrimination. And we feel that this kind of talk needs a forum to be clear, because Trinidad and Tobago is a multicultural society. You have, look at us on the set here.
Exactly.
This is COP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what the COP is,
But Trinidadians are, when people feel threatened, they look for easy ways to talk about each other. And race is one of the things that we get into in Trinidad and Tobago. And so I have been to countries where the talk of race and the behavior about race has gotten out of control. And it was very devastating for those countries. And so the COP, because we have often said in some of our slogans, one nation, one people, we believe in equity for all, we felt that this is an important dialogue that the COP must bring to the fore to see if we can educate or participate with our nation in an educative process so that we could be much more civil towards each other.
What is it, do you think, we hope to accomplish by having this series of discussions?
Well, there are a number of things we hope to accomplish. One, we hope that we all would become a little more educated. We would know something more. I think a lot of people talk out of what they don't know about race. Secondly, we hope that people would be aware, that they would have an emotional understanding and response to when they see racial things or hear racial things or see discrimination or lack of equity or injustice, they would be aware of these things. And finally, that there will be behavior change, that our attitude toward each other would move away from rejection and more towards acceptance. Our behavior would move towards tolerance and patience and less towards a quickness to curse and to disparage each other.
Do you think that in Trinidad we have a lot of deep-seated racial tension as we have in other places?
I think there is a lot of fear and anxiety in Trinidad and Tobago, and usually what we don't know, we tend to fear, and when we are afraid, we go to our base behavior. And there's a lot of baseness that's been happening. I have been hearing a lot of talk about Indian people and African people and Chinese people and all these kinds of talks, you know, and to me, a lot of it demonstrates people don't know, or they have some fear, and they're acting out their anxiety, and all kinds of some of it is really even stupid too, you know, and so that is quite painful to me.
But Dr. Douglas, tell me, I know we had our first discussion, public discussion last week, Thursday, at Denali Library. What was some of the issues that came out of these discussions?
Well, a lot of things came out. The program at Denali was a really good program. We had a lot of quite knowledgeable people there. You know, we had the program was facilitated by Dr. Morgan Job, and you know he has been writing extensively on the issue of race and in Trinidad and Tobago, as he would say, for the last 40 years. he's been writing and talking about race, and so he facilitated the program. We did have Dr. Hazel and DePisa Gibbs. This first session on Thursday was really the religious perspective. So the people we had there were representing religious, their specific religious view. So we had Dr. Hazel and Gibbs DePisa representing the spiritual Shouter Baptist faith, and she really talked a lot about the treatment of Baptists and the representation that they have of the sort of Africanness, which was demonstrated in the drumming and things that they had and the way they carried on their service, and the continued, the series or the historical sense of discrimination against their faith. Even up until recently, she pointed out that a church was destroyed. So she was there. From the Hindu faith, we had Raviji, you know, and Raviji spoke about the sense of identification, that he's an Indian, that he's a Trinidadian, and most of all, he's a person in the world. And he talked about the struggle to come to grips with that. And he felt that a lot of times people were forcing him, not only people of other race, but even his own race, people were forcing him to not be those things. He felt that a lot of times he was under the challenge to either deny one or the other, that either he's an Indian and you can't be a Trinidadian, you're a Trinidadian, or you could be an Indian, you know. And he talked about that kind of dichotomy sometimes, that struggle that he had, which we kind of described as a sense of identity and coming to peace with that. So, and then we had from the Muslim faith, we had Dr. Mustafa, and Dr. Mustafa talked a lot about the Quran and its understanding that we are all one, and to that extent how we accept and appreciate each other. And we had our very own Pastor Roger Samuel, representing, you know, evangelical or Christian faith, you know, and he talked a lot about the Bible's perspective on that we are all from one human being. We came from one original human being, and to that extent, we should learn to love and appreciate and work with each other. So that it was a very, very, and then we had people from the audience. We also had responders. We had Dr. Indira Rampasad. She shared her views also, which was very profound. We had Dr. Lionel Douglas, and we had David Mohammed. David Mohammed was quite interesting in the sense that he talked about his treatment at one media house that he worked on, and they actually fired him. And he felt that it had to do with his constant talk. You know, he ran a program called The Black Agenda. And he felt that the media came down on him, and it was a discriminatory practice because of his stance. And he highlighted a particular issue which we call institutional racism. And institutional racism has to do with, not that somebody tell you, hey, and call you a bad name, but that the systems of the government are set up, or the systems of the country are set up in such a way to favor one group and to automatically exclude one group. And so you might be trying hard, but because the systems are skewed in a certain way, you know, again, and he described that as institutional racism and what he felt, you know. And, you know, but it was a nice dialogue, you know, going back and forth, you know, and so I think it helped us a little more in the education part of it, you know. Dr. Job talked about the United Nations, UNESCO view that to use the term race is really don't make no sense at all, yes. Because really there's nothing like a race, exactly. For all honesty. And I always draw the example. I have a friend, her name is Sheila Adhikari. She's from India. She lives in if you know, in the north of India, there's a place called Nagaland, and in her place in particular is called Mizoram. Mizoram has about 53 million people. This is a little state in India. And that whole state, most of the people there are Christians, but they look like Chinese, and they are Christians, but they're Indians.
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
Yes.
So the question is, how do you define it? Is she an Indian? Is she a Chinese? Is she a Christian? Is she a Hindu? What, you know? And so race doesn't really mean anything. It's really a political and a social category that we use to divide up people in the world, you know. So it was a great program. We had a very good attendance there, you know, and we look forward to the rest of the programs.
So what do you think came out most, or what was the common theme or the common thread from all of the religious speakers at NALIS on Thursday?
Well, the common thread was that for all of the religion originally never thought about that their religion belonged to any particular race. The original religion didn't feel that this belonged to this race, and that no religion, and that all of these religions clearly said that everybody really came from one source, and that source primarily from God and from one man, and that everybody should be accepted, and that nobody is greater. And I think that somehow is hard for people to accept. Yeah.
And also, Dr. Douglas, I think what was, to me, most sounding out of that was Dr. Samuel's comment about there's one race, the race to heaven or the race to hell. And I found that was so intriguing, and it simplified what our missions were. You know, and Dr. Douglas, maybe you want to share with us what were coming out of that program. What is the COP's agenda from running the race?
Well, run the race, and it's a kind of tongue-in-cheek, you know, phrase. Yeah. We have 7 of these sessions set up. The next one will be next set will be the first week of March, right. And those would be a series of media dialogue. We want to have on every television station and on every radio station selected people that the population can interact with, that would have discussion about the issue of race, and so that the discussion will be framed in a meaningful context. People don't have to go on the radio and cuss each other and say them people over there and them people down there and use derogatory terms as we hear. But they will have an opportunity to dialogue. And so we'll have on all the television station, all the radio station, a discussion, and this discussion the people we'd have in this discussion would be primarily what we call the non-major groups. So we will be looking for all the Chinese and the Syrians and the Douglas. You mix up something.
Yeah, mix up something.
Real Chinese. Yeah. Say more power to the Douglas.
More power.
Rise of the mixed people. Yeah. So
people with no distinct racial or ethnic group to actually call themselves.
Right. So those
the great people,
will have a discussion,
because
you see, it's not only about race. Sometimes we have a term called xenophobia, which is the fear of strangers. And so in Trinidad, we have this way we talk about people who come from small islands.
Exactly, or Guyana.
As if they're like, you know, from space or something, you know.
Exactly.
So that session will deal with that. Then we have a session with the academics, with the people from the universities, and they will be talking about it also. Then we have the youth sessions, and that will involve, at the tertiary level, they will be doing videography, which will they be doing on their cell phone, and they'll be making a cell phone movie.
Nice.
It'll be a competition based on their dialogue with people on the streets about race. At the high school level, we'll have a literary presentations, both in terms of poetry and prose. And at the primary school level, we'll be using cartoons. They'll be drawing cartoons about their understanding of race and so forth. So that'll be the youth level. But I think what is most interesting, as we come to the ending of the thing, we will have a healing session, what we call a cultural or racial healing. You'll have an opportunity, and that'll be organized by the people from our social and psychological group, where people can so a workshop where people who feel that they've been hurt, victimized, you know, some way wounded. I don't know, you could have married somebody outside your race and people throw you out, or you could have tried to apply for a job and you've been hurt since then, or whatever. You don't know how to move forward, or you want to clear your conscience, or whatever. Or find a way to feel better about yourself. We have one session on cultural and racial healing, and then we have 2 closing sessions. One would actually be a dinner where we would bring hundreds of people together from different places.
All walks of life.
All walks of life, to interact with each other and feel the reality of each other. And we'll also have a run the race, an actual running race.
Are you running in a race?
A 5K? Well,
what do you mean, well?
Listen, young man. This week was my birthday. Can't tell you
Happy belated birthday, Dr. Douglas.
Thank you.
How old are you? How old were you? 30 how much?
Well, I'm 51. Don't be fooled by my young and boyish charms. I am heading towards being a senior citizen.
Yeah.
But I could still handle my stories.
Which is what we expect of you, Doctor.
So but the race issue is an important one for us in Trinidad and Tobago, and we hope after 50 years that we will start behaving much better towards each other.
So, Dr. Douglas, when is the next Run Your Race discussion?
So the next discussion starts on the 2nd of March. As I was pointing out, we will do these on the radio station and on the television station. You can wake up every morning to have a couple of people having a dialogue about race and politics in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, Dr. Douglas, we'd like to just end on this note. We'd like to say thank you so much again. We're going to run a clip on what happened at NALIS on Thursday, and then we'll go to a break. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Congress of the People is moving ahead in the constituency of Comoto Manzanilla. As part of its policy and plans, the COP encourages all constituency executives to get involved in community activities. The chairman of the Comoto Manzanilla constituency, Mr. Kumar Ramratan, observed a serious problem affecting the students of the Swaha Hindu College in Sangre Grande. Working with the people of the area, the chairman of the COP Comoto Manzanilla, Kumar Ramratan, contacted the Sangre Grande police, and along with Sergeant Lachman, they have come up with a master plan to assist the many students of the Swaha Hindu College in Sangre Grande.
They decide to give us the service on evenings because of the fact majority of the children travel, they get across the bridge on foot on evenings, but on mornings they use parents' vehicle or taxis to get to school. So we would carry it on as long as while we waiting to address the situation here, to get a footpath on the side or widen bridge or something that we will now make representation to the Ministry of Works in Grande.
Comoto Manzanilla moving forward with the COP.
Ladies.
Good evening and welcome back to Moving Forward. The clip that we actually ended with was the clip concerning the Swaha Hindu College, where it is the Mr. Kumar Ramratan, the chairman for Kamutu Mantinula, COP chairman for Kamutu Mantinula. He had to, trying again to deal with issues concerning people in that area, particularly the school and the bridge, Ria.
Yes, and it's good to see that he got some sort of relief from the police, the Sangre Grande police, especially Mr. Lutchman's Superintendent Lutchman,
yes, Sergeant Lutchman,
Sergeant Lutchman,
yes.
In order to help with the traffic congestion on the bridge. I think the real issue here is in the absence of a footpath for the students, you know, and where we have all the issues with, you know, students' life being affected by it.
Exactly.
At risk
So I
with
think
it.
Sergeant Lutchman, he comes out and he ensures that there's one-way traffic on the bridge to allow the students to pass during high traffic times. And again, that was facilitated by Mr. Kumar Ramratan, chairman of the Kamutu Mantinula, COP chairman of the Kamutu Mantinula area.
Yes.
Yes, so we have Dr. Douglas here with us, and we'll continue our discussion on Run the Race.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Douglas, what do you think fundamentally is the problems with race relations in Trinidad? Is it fear? Is it a lack of understanding? Do you think people are too isolated from each other?
Well, you see, when we live with each other on the ground, most of the time we're doing just fine, you know. This series has been entitled Race and Politics. And you see, a lot of the problems with race has to do with the people who need the tribal organization in order for political mileage. So the history of our politics in Trinidad has been organizing and mobilizing people around race. So you have one political party that mobilizes one racial and has a lot of symbols that says to those people, when you hear this symbol, you know I'm talking to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it has another group that has another set of symbols, and when they send out those symbols, they know they are talking to their people. You know, and so they've been using this to mobilize people. COP has come on the scene and says that we are not about politics, about tribal politics, but we are about national politics. We are about what is good for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. And we are hoping that these set of dialogues that we have would make a contribution to breaking the power of this stupid kind of racial thinking and mobilization in the country. And so it would be unifying our nation and raising the bar, creating a higher standard of organization for politics, because it really is corrupting the politics too, you know. It's corrupting the leadership, because you no longer can lead the nation. You're only thinking about how your people and how they can...
Your people but do you think in the absence of race and race relations that we can actually be able to focus on issues?
Well, we have
focus more on issues.
Well, we have to make it so, you know.
Yes.
If we don't make it so, because race is just one thing. If in a race, it's going to be the size of your nose. If it's the size of your nose, it's going to be the color of your hair, or it's going to be your religion, or it's going to be something. Because
where you live.
Even in countries where they have the same set of people, they don't make it race, then they make it religion. You're a Hindu and you're a Muslim. Or if in the country where you have the same people with the same religion, then they make it different. You're a Protestant and we Catholics. You know, in Northern Ireland, they fought wars for how much years between the Protestants and Catholics. And all of them are Christians. You know, so it is always something. That's why the race talk is even stupid, because it's just another thing that we use to divide ourselves and to mobilize our people. And so the COP's perspective is that we are not mobilizing people around little tribal affiliations, but we are saying that the issues that are affecting Trinidad are very critical and they are for all people, and that is what we must focus on in order to make good politics in Trinidad.
Do you think that people hold on to race because they want to hold on to some sort of identity?
Well, of course, you feel threatened, and the place of safety is among the people that you know. I feel that I'm safer among, black people in my community, which ain't true. Same people robbing everybody if they robbing. Indian people as rob Indian people. African people as rob African people. You ain't safer nowhere. But we tend to feel that that we're safer among the people who look like us, But these are just illusions, that we subscribe to. But and so the other thing too is that when there's a competition for scarce resources, then we kind of go more into our tribe. We think that globalism would help us be more open, but what it does really do is cause us to retreat more into our little jungle and hold on because we feel that we're safer, we could get more in there, And so how it works is that when you see somebody of a different race, meaning they look different to you.
From you, yeah.
Right? And in Trinidad and Tobago, this is not true because you don't know who is who. But in your mind, you think they look different to you. You make a judgment based on how somebody look. Or you see,
prejudge the person.
Yeah. You prejudge them, which is what is prejudice. You prejudge them. And you make that prejudgment based upon what we call stereotypes. So if I start to ask you, what is the stereotypes about black people? You could give me all. You're going to take a chance on TV.
No.
No, but we also let me mention that. All the black people lazy. They like to waste time. They're Steve. They don't raise their children. And all the Indian people, they crooked, they whatever. They
like to drink too much rum.
They like to drink too much rum and whatever.
Yeah, all these negative stereotypes.
Right. These are what we call stereotypes. They're one single thing that we use to describe a whole group of people.
A whole group of people.
That we don't even know.
Exactly.
Right? And we use these stereotypes to make judgments. So if you see somebody come in and they look like a black person, of course, that person might rob them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where the prejudice comes from. You prejudge somebody because of the stereotype that you have in your mind. And when you prejudge them, then you begin to discriminate. So discrimination now is that you have a set of resources and you decide, because of the judgment you have in your mind, he can't get it, she should get it. Because she look like me, I should get you something. And so now we have people who use politics in that way to prejudge and then discriminate, decide that resources going over here because them is we people. Resources are going over here because them are we people. And so this is for we and that is for them. And so this is how it spirals down. So you have this ethnocentric view, or this view about that your group is better than that group, and they have a set of stereotypes. You use that to make prejudgment, then you use the prejudgment to discriminate, and then you have a widening division, And so the COP's perspective is that this must not be a way of distributing resources in Trinidad and Tobago, or of getting along with our people. We believe in one nation, one people. We're all here to live on this blessed island called Trinidad and Tobago.
I think more so the COP perspective that we are one race, the human race.
That's right.
The only race.
There's no difference really. The Human Genome Project or the UNESCO project tell us that there is really no difference.
There's no gene for race.
Yeah, there's no gene for race. And what accounts for the different looks that we have is time and space and geography and it's less than probably 1%.
Less than, I think, 0.1% of your genomic contribution has to do with identities or characteristics that state that you're African or you're supposed to be Asian or whatever the case might be. It's very, it's insignificant.
Almost. So really and truly, there's no real difference in us, but we make such big issue. We start wars and things based on this, You should have been in Rwanda. There's really no difference between a Hutu or a Tutsi for all intents and purposes, And they almost wipe out each other, At least they almost wipe out the Tutsis, the Hutus. Or you should be living in Yugoslavia or the former Yugoslavia, with the Croats and the Serbs and the, it's just a mess, So we don't want that in Trinidad. We want to run the race. Well,
before we end this topic, Dr. Douglas, tell us again, when is the next run the race discussion?
So if you look for at the beginning of March, probably the 2nd of March, is when we begin our next run the race session. It'll be a series of dialogue on the media, television, and the radio that deals primarily with xenophobia and the people who are not part of the major ethnic group, you know, to talk about their experience of growing up, you know, in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right. Thank you again so much, Dr. Douglas. You're going to stay with us because
I staying?
Yes, you're staying.
Gotta give us
right?
food, you know.
Because what it is we want to do now is just have a small discussion on what is coming up next for the COP.
That's right.
Okay. So National Council next week Sunday at 9:30. Registration starts at 9.
You know, talk about that. COP is probably the only political party in this country that has been consistently for the last 5 years have National Council meeting every month, National Executive meeting. And so we're building a party that is organized and a party that is prepared for governance in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right, for further information, you can call 665-6742, and remember it's at our Charleville Operations Center this coming Sunday.
Yeah,
At 9:30.
At 9:30. Registration begins at 9, so you are again all invited.
Yes.
Rhea, Councillor Budu, you have something else coming up shortly.
Yes, we actually have Dr. Douglas and Nigel. We have our visit to the Mascams coming up on Tuesday. This Tuesday at 6 o'clock, we'll be meeting at the flagship house. For 6 o'clock, we'll be visiting a number of the Mascams. That will be Spice, Mascamp, Legacy, Trini Revelers.
Yeah.
I know we're going to Ronnie and Caro McFarlane, and also the NCC Carnival Village. That's this Tuesday at 6 p.m. from our flagship house. So we're going to be expecting you to come out in your numbers and see us. I think that some of the Mascams do have small entrance fees, but the majority may be free at this time, I guess. And hey, it's the COP going to be giving you a lot of coverage, so I guess they're going to be waiving some of the fees, right?
And not to forget, we have our national raffle, our COP national raffle, which is going to be drawn in March. Tickets cost $20, and they are available from all the constituency execs. Dr. Douglas?
Yes.
Yes.
And this will, the benefits from this goes towards developing our COP Winston Ducaran Center for Politics, and or new politics, if you want to call it that. So it will be contributing to a worthy cause in Trinidad and Tobago.
Before we end tonight's program, we all know today was PAN semifinals.
Yes, it
Right.
isn't finished yet.
And you're not there.
I will be there.
We will be there.
Right? And what happened last week, our political leader, chairman, and other members of the exec and activists, they visited 5 panyards in Portos, Spain.
I was there.
You were there?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what happened before we go to the clip.
It was a great event. We visited Despas, All Stars, Silver Stars.
PCS Nitrogen, Silver Stars,
Yeah.
Caribbean Airline Invaders, I think you all passed there.
And we ended with Phase 2.
Yeah, Special
Jesus,
Phase 2.
PAN is a beautiful thing, boy. Especially when you're right there in the center of it. There's a kind of vibration and an emotion that has hit you. You know, listening PAN on the radio or watching it on TV is not the same thing as being in the presence
Nothing
of
like
PAN.
being...
Boy, it's just I
the
don't
notes
know.
stand.
If I was a PAN judge,
You have a hard time.
that'd be a
Hard time to judge.
difficult thing, but it was some serious PAN, but I don't want to call no name. But
Or your favorite, sort of bias, nothing, or anything of the
Tell us
sort,
what's your
right?
favorite for this season.
Well, of what I've heard so far, boy, Silver Stars real good, yeah? And Renegades real good, to Despas real good, Phase 2 real good, yeah, boy, you know what I... Invaders, boy. You know what I like about listening to PAN? That all, and this is an interesting thing, all the PAN orchestras, they have a different song. The PAN itself,
Yes.
they have a different way the song, they tune them differently, or the nature of the PAN. And so even when they play the same song, where it's just like a different vibe all entirely. So I'm looking forward to going to the mass camp. That would be fun. I'm sure it will be very inspiring.
Of course.
Yes.
We'll let the secret out today.
Well, it seems like we have to wrap up tonight's show.
Yes.
Okay, again, we'd like to thank Dr. Douglas for being with us on tonight's program. Dr. Douglas, thank you so
My
much. I know that
pleasure
you're
to be
always
Great
welcome
to
back.
be here with
Yes.
You know,
COP
and
is on the move.
you. Yes.
doing stuff for you. That is exactly what we're up to. You know, we're on the move and we're trying to interact with you more and let you also know what is going on in the Congress of the People. So tonight we'll end on that clip where our political leaders, our national executive, and other activists was visiting those 5 panyards. Have a good night, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Carnival 2012 is in the air, and the Congress of the People, led by its political leader, Mr. Prakash Ramada, made special visits to 5 different panyards in the Port-au-Prince district in preparation for Panorama Finals 2012. Mr. Ramada, accompanied by the chairman of the party and other distinguished officers of the Congress of the People and members and supporters, were warmly welcomed at the Whitco Desperados Panyard, at Renegade Spaniard, at the PCS Nitrogen Silver Stars Spaniard, at the Caribbean Airlines Invader Spaniard, and the Phase 2 Pangrove Panyard.
We welcome you all to Whitco Desperados Space. It is lovely to have audience of this nature, right, and of this substance visiting us tonight. Tonight we're going to be playing a couple songs for you and so on, and I know you'll want to get inside the band and understand how the dynamics and so on. We will now ask the managing director of our sponsor, Mr. Whitco, and Mr. Kudre, to say a few words.
Good evening all, thanks for coming. Pleasure to have you all here tonight. Well, as you all may or may not know, this is the 48th year the marriage between Whitco and Despas has been going strong. And like all marriages, we have our ups and downs. And with any long-standing relationship, every now and then you need to take a step back and analyze the situation and try to reinvent ourselves. And I think this year in particular, with the introduction of Andre White, who you all haven't met as yet, or you'll see him in a minute, 21 years old, absolutely brilliant musician in many fields. And he's come and he's brought a real energy and dynamism to the Despas feel. The players, you could feel it when they're playing, you could feel the energy. And we're really excited about the opportunities that Despas will do very well at Panorama this year.
Keep your good work together, because the music is what will bring true happiness to this nation. Thank you for what you do.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Sailor of Richmond Pullman Thief. Yay!
Oh dear, I'm lost. Oh well. Can I have the gun, please, Patricia?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Thank you, dear. Ah, got you.
You're a silly, stupid thief. You got caught. Can I be the thief now, Granna?
Sure, love, but only after you cut your cake.
Yay!
Run along now.
Yay!
Draw the curtains, please.
With all due respect, Your Majesty, we're in the middle of the desert. No one can see it from the outside.
If I can see the skies in it, then it can be seen from the skies.
Second night going out to Giselle. She's locked on to Win Radio. Enjoy your night, my dear. Thank you for choosing Win Radio.
You're my angel. Whoa, angel.
Well, I heard from a little birdie that this is a great movie.
You're my
Didn't see it. Just saw the trailer for it. Saw the video. Once again, I go out to Akash from Shivani with lots of love. Hi to my Facebook crew, my live stream crew. Coming up on 9:35 on a great looking Sunday evening. Your love spot.
से झाके रात रुक रुक के ताके ख्वाब मन से झाके घुली 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 चांदनी घुली धुली 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 सियाहियां धुली तेरी 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 मुस्कुराहटों से सब्ज मौसम खिले लगता है तुमसे मिलना बातें करना बड़ा अच्छा लगता है क्या है ये क्यों है ये क्या खबर हम मगर जो भी है बड़ा अच्छा लगता है
तुमसे मिलना बातें
गीत अमर कर दो, होठों से छू लो तुम, मेरा गीत अमर कर दो, बन जाओ मीत मेरे